Previously on the Writers Room Game Show.
Yeah, it's the only one he could afford, and it's like this cool like pixel art of this portrait.
He just got in on it. He saw it before anybody else. He like goes as fast as he can. He's like, I gotta get it. I can have just enough to get it. He gets it, and it's in his account. He can't believe it.
Whoever owns it, it like slowly, steadily becomes that person who owns it. And the person then slowly becomes whoever the last person was, almost like it slowly trades with you. Every night, he is screaming and in pain because his body is literally transforming. But the thing is, we want that slow burn. So how do we do...
But also nonstop.
Thank you, Polly, for constantly reminding us.
We're so excited to hear what you come up with.
Yes.
Talk soon. Hugs and kisses.
Again, seriously.
Again, more hugs and kisses. X's and O's, man.
Shut your damn mouth, Ryan.
Okay, get out of here.
Whoa, which one?
Damn.
Ryan.
Hey, Seth. How's it going, man?
Man, it's so good. Ryan, are you a filmmaker?
I am a filmmaker, yeah.
Do you know a filmmaker?
Yes, I do. I know filmmakers as well.
Do you want nothing to do with a filmmaker?
What?
Regardless, I'm sure you will love today's sponsor, MusicBed.
Wait, sponsor? Are we recording?
Ryan, what do you think we're doing when we talk to each other?
I thought we were hanging out.
No, we have a podcast now. Why would we ever hang out as actual people?
I guess I have headphones and a microphone in front of me.
MusicBed is bringing back the MusicBed Challenge. Before they were just MusicBed, and now they have the challenge. It's back. And here's the thing. They're challenging you to make a film you've been dreaming about. That idea you haven't been able to shake. The one you keep shaking. You can make a documentary, a narrative short, or a spec ad using MusicBed tracks. Each one will have industry-leading judges like Drea Clark, producer at Film Independent, Ricky Staub, director of Netflix's Concrete Cowboy, and Mohamed Gorgistani. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I may have mispronounced it, so I'm very sorry. Director and co-founder of Even Odd. And more! And Ryan,
there's even more?
Yeah, there's more. There's always more. Ryan, do you like money?
Yes, I love trading it in exchange for things.
Okay, calm down. With winners in each category, plus a People's Choice winner, can you guess how much money there is available to winners?
I'm just going to guess $100,000 in grants and gear.
Not only was that wildly specific to the number, but also in the value at which that number is subscribed in grants, in gear. Did you know that submissions open April 12th?
Yes, I did know that actually.
Did you know that you can head to musicbed.com/challenge to download your starter kit right now and get all of the deets?
I am literally typing in the URL right now.
And it's working.
Wow, look at all those deets. I'm on the website right now.
It's almost too many deets. It's a deet overload. Ryan, do you think that people should be allowed to take our ideas and create a submission based on something we wrote on this podcast?
Only if it's salt and pepper.
Yeah, I can forgive that. I love the idea of an Eternal Sunshine version of Super Mario Brothers. Now, because think about it, the main characters are two plumbers. You can start from a very real...
Why are they saving a princess? They're plumbers.
Well, that's something is if you start from... I feel like you could make an A24 movie out of this, like where you have two plumbers.
I'm imagining the SNL trailer for the A24 Mario Bros.
And it's the real trailer for our film. Ryan Polly and Seth Worley.
Yes.
Super Mario Bros.
Okay, we open on A24 logo, but it's in the Mario tubes. It's like a...
Oh, perfect.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I am Seth.
And welcome back to the Writers Room Game Show. It's the podcast where every week we generate an original feature film idea from scratch in under 60 minutes, working from a set of random prompts given to us by a big Hollywood studio. Seth, my man,
Ryan,
you just went on vacation.
My girl. It was great. It was.
Yes, you look vacation, and you look relaxed. You've got like this sort of tropical shirt on.
I'm totally wearing. Yeah, I didn't wear this on my vacation. I didn't take it on my vacation.
When you got back, got back from the beach. You're like, I better wear a nice tropical shirt.
I better. Yeah. Well, I mean, truthfully, anything I could do to extend the overall vibes, like to prolong the overall vibes of that vacation would be great. It was like
I'm ready for vacation.
I'm putting my cocaine away in the drawer here. For those just tuning in, cocaine is code for vitamins. I take a murderer's row of vitamins right before we start each episode. More is superstition.
I wish that you didn't explain it though, because our listeners would be like, "Man, these guys are hardcore." Holy crap.
But it's important they know that I'm just slamming Flintstones gummies right before we start the show. No, I've told everyone this. It's asked how my vacation was. I can't think of another time in my adult life that I went a week without a moment of stress. It was just plain wonderful. Those of you out there, including you, Polly, who have young kids and find going on vacation or anything going into the other room to be a stressful affair. Please have faith and rest assured that your kids grow up, if you're lucky, to be wonderful human beings in their slightly older kid ages and are just a blast to be around. It was great. We had a really great time. I'm sure the listeners really care.
I need a vacation. I would love to go to a beach vacation and relax.
Ryan?
It got me excited to, like, I saw you and your kids like hanging out, having fun. I'm like, man, I can't wait till like Amelie's like the age where we can like kind of do stuff together and you know, that's going to be
and
really
not
fun.
just keep it alive. Now, speaking of kids,
it's her doing things and me sitting next to her and handing her things to put in her mouth.
And that's totally normal. And that will actually last longer than you think. That reminds me, I keep meaning to tell you, like, a parent pro tip. My friend and frequent collaborator, Christopher Adams, recommended this to me years ago. He and his wife stumbled upon this. Basically, they loved listening to like pop music in the car, like popular music in the car with their two daughters, but their daughters got to a certain age where they were actually listening to the lyrics at a certain point, and they were like, we have to scrutinize what we listen to in the car. Good. And they randomly found on Spotify this artist, Blake Rules and Nether Friends, and it's like this guy made like 20 albums called Kids Trap that is just rap music for kids. Like, in fact, I'm going to play a little bit.
I think my brother and his wife play that for their kid all the time in the car.
Oh, you know about Kids Trap?
I think I've heard it before.
Well, their listeners need to hear it. This, specifically the song Dinosaurs, is maybe the most seminal track. Like, it's a track for the ages. I'll play a little bit of it here.
We're...
Those are the lyrics.
Dinosaurs.
You're joining us on KTXT. We're playing Dinosaur by Kids Trap.
200 million years ago, dinosaurs lived on every continent. 65 million years ago, they all went extinct and we haven't seen them since. Listen to the song if you want to know more.
I'm happy to just play this for the rest of the podcast.
Some walk on four, some were really big like the brachio.
Anyway, it's pretty great. There's also a whole song. It's just called I Love My Mom. That
this song is dedicated.
I just wish you hear the beginning of it.
To Gideon and to Gabe. It's called I Love My Mom. 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 I love
it's so good.
I love my mom.
So it's like music that has the feel of modern like hip hop and pop music, but then all the lyrics are like
it's like 90s Christian
nice
music, but the kids version. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Well, now that we've done that, Seth,
now that has happened,
the past few episodes, we've been trying to have fun with opening segments before we get into our idea. Today we've got a new segment where we bring interesting quotes and talk about them on the show. So let's hear an interesting quote.
I heard an interesting quote. I'll play a clip of that quote so you can hear the quote and talk about it on our show. Yeah!
You're killing it.
That's a jingle. I'm going to play a quote from a very popular Oscar-winning screenwriter who co-wrote a movie back in the 90s with another award-winning screenwriter. So let's listen to this quote.
Ben always said to me when we started writing Good Will Hunting, which it was a very formal thing to say for friends who were as close as we were, but he kind of said it somewhat formally, which was, he said, judge me for how good my good ideas are, not for how bad my bad ideas are.
Oh, that's such a great point.
That was from
that was William Goldman himself.
Yes,
so much truth and power and wisdom from the
yes, obviously Matt Damon talking about him and Ben Affleck. I was listening to this ID10T podcast where this came from, and I was like, oh man, that's the perfect summation of me and Seth's partnership on the show.
Which one's Matt? Which one's Ben? Incredibly important.
Who's had the most drama in their love life in their later years?
Clearly, both of us.
No,
with each other.
But I was like, this is so good because I feel like this entire show is us getting out bad ideas so that we could write a movie.
How dare you put that on this, say something so 100% truthful about this podcast.
I'm like, yeah, it's nice to know there's other people that, because I obviously don't judge you for all of your bad ideas that you bring to the show, which are many.
Oh, yeah, I definitely don't judge you either. 100%.
But yeah, I just thought that was a nice quote that kind of summed up this podcast in a.
You should make that your ringtone when I call you. Just Matt Damon starts talking randomly.
But I used the voice, our studio voice, to change some of the names in it. So it's like, yeah, I was working with Ryan the other day, and
that was very close to.
Speak of the devil.
Speak of that.
And he calls. I am gonna take the phone and of course put him on speakerphone so we can both talk to him. Here we go. Hello, studio. Is that you?
Boys, it's the big Hollywood studio.
Hey,
how's it going?
Want to hear a joke?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
What is two thumbs and just sent you an email with today's assignment?
I don't know what. Who?
Me.
Wow, that's a great joke, studio. It's
Studio.
This week,
okay.
we're looking for a pitch in this genre.
Bromance.
Bromance. Okay, I like
I'm
that.
excited.
And we'd like it to have this tone.
Thrilling as hell.
Nice. Thrilling as hell bromance. What
We want
else,
to
studio?
appeal to this target audience.
Fans of character-driven sci-fi, and some examples of that are Midnight Special, Arrival, and Eternal Sunshine. Okay.
And this
Okay.
is our only mandate.
A live-action adaptation of a classic video game. That's from L.A. Nick. Once again, our one and only listener brought...
He continues to be on the show. Okay, studio. Well, thank you so much. This sounds like thrilling as hell assignment, if I do say so myself.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm going to hang up now. Thank you for the assignment. We'll get to work.
Before I go, I need to ask one quick favor. When you're writing today, set aside a small amount of time to remind yourselves of our ultimate goal, to create a one-of-a-kind experience for the audience that is absolutely nothing like the film Gremlins, a wholly unlikable property with no redeeming value whatsoever.
Speaks so much truth. Incredible.
Studio, why do you say these things? Have you been talking to Seth? I feel like it's starting to become bullying to me.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hang up now. Thanks again for the great assignment.
Talk soon, my babies. Smooches.
Goodbye, studio. It's wildly
Seth,
inappropriate.
this is getting out of hand.
All right.
Okay, well, I guess you know what that means.
Hit the soundboard, baby. My babies.
The Writers Room Game Show has begun.
It doesn't work when you wait
babies.
so long. Like, if someone yells, punch that shit, and then you delay it doesn't have any effect whatsoever.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Before we start, I've got to mention the studio. I don't like him. I liked him better before I put him on speakerphone.
Are you kidding me? I think he's wonderful. I think he clearly exhibits, wonderful taste. We should also remember that he absolutely has purchased our last 2 or 3 ideas. Some of them, I don't think
That's
we're
true.
ready for.
I think we might look into going to a different studio soon. That's just me.
Oh my God, they are listening, Paul. Are you kidding me? Oh, that could actually create a nice bidding war there.
Okay, yeah. Thrilling as hell bromance for fans of character-driven sci-fi, and it's a video game adaptation.
As usual, though, we are coming
That's
to the
awesome.
table with some ideas.
Yes.
We're influencing into our story. So don't hit that soundboard just yet.
Already did.
Unhit the
Clock's
soundboard.
ticking. All right.
Our ideas we're coming to the table this time are a cult, a character who dies, ... again. A terminal
That's an Elliot one, right?
I think so. A terminal diagnosis.
Hey, that's perfect for the last one. Okay, next.
What's funny is my generator malfunctioned and gave me a terminal diagnosis again, which is also appropriate to the second idea. But I'll roll again. An emergency birth in a public place.
Okay.
And rolling again for that last one. A lawn gnome come to life.
Love it. And you know what that means?
Hit the soundboard!
The Writers Room Game Show has begun.
Who said that?
There we go.
Incredibly cool dude just ran through my office and yelled, hit the soundboard. Wearing a tropical
Wow,
shirt.
he looked incredible and very relaxed, after vacation.
And he was wearing flip-flops that exposed his toes.
You're wearing flip-flops too?
Yeah, dude.
The
slides,
vacation
man.
doesn't
They call them
stop.
slides now. They don't call them flip-flops. And
Those
look
are
how relaxed I look.
You look ready to write a
I
nonstop
am.
video game adaptation.
I'm gonna write
romantic.
Hollywood today. Here we go.
Get the sunglasses on too.
I'm just gonna sit back and write our story like this.
Audio listeners, please feel free to check out writersroomgame.show to watch this in full video.
To watch Seth kick his heels up.
Kick his heels up.
Sit back and make the magic.
Love it. Hey, we should look at some video game. Is there any, when you hear a video game adaptation, is there any that, because obviously we're sci-fi.
We're sci-fi.
I feel like
and we're bromance, so I think we both know where this one's going today.
Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Bromance. mean, that's 100% what has to happen today. This wasn't as comfortable as I thought it would be. All right, so
Mario's more fantasy than sci-fi. I feel like
Not
unless
if you watch
we go the 90s movie.
Yes, not if you watch the 90s Bob Hoskin, John Leguizamo.
Name? Mario. Last name? Mario. Okay, what's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi?
No, Luigi Mario.
Okay, look, how many Marios are there between the two of you?
There's three. There's Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Mike! Up these Marios around the side.
The story of that movie is absolutely amazing. There's a great oral history of the making of that Super Mario Brothers movie. I do not remember what it is. Just look it up. But the creators, the directors that there was, we come to the table with ideas that are optional to include. This was a thing where the directors came to the table with ideas that they considered mandatory that were unrelated to the Super Mario Brothers franchise.
The most unhinged Super Mario plot.
It didn't take place in Koopa Land or whatever the name of Mario World is. Yeah. And it took place in a city they named the New Brutalism. Oh, so clever. And it's just a nightmare of dreams.
Yes. I forget what even happens. It's just this weird cyberpunk kind of city
where cyberpunk.
But everything's worn down and it's
covered in fungus
and covered in fungus and wet and
Koopa is played by Dennis Hopper, and he is de-evolve. He can his punishment de-evolve characters into Goombas, which are just don't look anything like the Goombas in the.
And they're the biggest idiots that you've ever seen.
Yeah,
they're the stupidest.
Fisher Stevens and the guy from Ferris Bueller who says, "What country do you think this is?" I forgot his name. The two of them, they're the two main Goombas in the story, I believe, or Spike and Iggy, I think are their names. I know a lot more about this movie than any human.
That's really funny. The last time I watched this movie was we watched Troll 2 and Super Mario Bros. On the same night as sort of a bad movie.
Incredible.
Double feature.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
So here's my argument for Super Mario Brothers. You and I are writing a Super Mario Brothers movie. I don't know. I mean, we don't have to commit to it. We can look up some video games that I just feel like Bromance.
What I like about though, I was like, because I still want to make this sort of a character driven, add some an emotional journey in this, make it a soul. What do you call it? Soul
surprise, 100%.
Soul surprise. But I think what's good about Super Mario is obviously our audience is fans of character driven sci-fi. We need to make it to where it's a property that they know of. So I think Super Mario. The great thing about it is you can be a random Joe on the street and get the concept of, we have Mario, we have Luigi, we have Princess Peach. You can sort of tell an original story within that without having to be educate them on
totally.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of this game that you've never heard of and blah blah blah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show a random Joe from the street.
How did I get here?
Where am I? I think I love the idea of an Eternal Sunshine version of Super Mario Brothers. Now, because think about it, the main characters are two plumbers. You can start from a very real...
Why are they saving a princess? They're plumbers.
Well, that's something is if you start from... I feel like you could make an A24 movie out of this, where you have two plumbers.
I'm imagining the SNL trailer for the A24 Mario Bros.
And it's the real trailer for our film. Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley.
Yes,
Super Mario Bros.
Okay, we open on A24 logo, but it's in the Mario tubes. It's the text is in the Mario tubes. Rene, I hope you're doing this in the actual trailer right now.
I gotta say, I think what's fun, we gotta be careful because we are possibly writing ourselves in the exact direction of the 1993 Super Mario Brothers film. That's okay though. Ours is gonna be.
I wonder what their comps were for that movie.
Well, the thing is, I think their big sin was not even their choices on tone and everything. There's a lot of bad things, but the biggest sin that kept it from being that I think really pushed it over the edge was that it just was a disregard for the original franchise. And I think that if we can find a way to actually make it cohesive with the original, mainly those first 2-3 games.
I'm more of a Super Mario World guy myself.
That's the SNES version, right?
Yeah. That's what I grew up with.
So I grew up with the first one. I wasn't allowed to have a Nintendo. In fact, I was never allowed to have a console of any kind. My brothers ended up both having PlayStations. And I remember when my brother told me, my brother Matt said, "Hey, I was about to get married," and he said, "I'm thinking about giving you my PlayStation as a wedding gift. Would you want that?" And I was like, "Matt, You sound exactly like yourself in the impression. And I absolutely would love your PlayStation.
Oh, is it a PS2?
Yeah, 2 probably. Cut to right after I'm like back from my honeymoon, and I ask Matt later, I'm like, hey, whatever happened with the PlayStation? He goes, oh, Mom told me not to give it to you because you'd never get any work done. Which, even in my adult life, my mom was not allowing me to have a console. So I did play the first Mario at my friend's house consistently.
Robert Pattinson is Mario.
What?
Robert Pattinson is Mario.
So is Pattinson the right guy?
No, but there's a meme online because he basically wore Mario's outfit in the lighthouse, just in black and white.
That's true.
And so there's lots of meme images of him as like the dark and gritty Mario. I don't think, because I feel like our movie, I still want it to be sort of like bright and colorful when they arrive in like...
500%. We don't go dark and gritty. It's a bright and colorful movie, even if
because we can still have like an emotional sort of story. Yeah, because I mean, character-driven, all that to me, character-driven sci-fi is, like you said, Eternal Sunshine or
That's a colorful
Arrival.
movie too.
What's that?
Eternal Sunshine's a very colorful movie, a very vibrant movie.
Yeah, and it's intelligent and there's a ton of heart. So I think just like having those, like we just make smart choices for, and make sure Mario or Luigi or whoever our protagonist is, that we have this emotional arc where they start in one spot, they end up in another, and we've got a really interesting journey. And
I think you tell a story about two brothers, and like the first dynamic I think of with an older brother and a younger brother is that like the older brother tends to be the one who's like taking on the responsibility, the one who's kind of like the adult of the two of them.
This is fun because you're the older brother and I'm the younger brother.
Oh, this is fun. I want to hear about your side of things. So I'll tell my side of things. I want to hear yours. My side of things is like the older brother, and in a lot of stories, the older brother tends to be like often is like it feels the responsibility as like, this is like definitely not in every case, but I think in a lot of cases you see in film and in stories, and find that like the older brother feels a little more like takes on a little bit of the responsibility of like taking care of the family, or like taking on that leader role. They're the one that they're all on a trip or something together or traveling. They're the one who's probably going to like have the itinerary and like everybody's stuff in place. And the younger brother tends to be can sometimes be like, God, as I'm hearing myself say this, I'm like, that doesn't apply to like literally every relationship is different. So, and doesn't even fully apply to mine, because I don't want my brothers to hear this and be like, the hell, Seth? Because but I will say there is a dynamic though. I look at Luigi and Mario and I'm like, I like the idea of Mario being kind of like
Mario and Luigi Mario.
Sorry, Mario and Luigi Mario. A British man and a Latino man, both as Italian brothers. I'm literally putting my foot in my mouth as I explain brotherly dynamics to this podcast.
No, I get it. I mean, because like in our family, there's 4 siblings in our family, like my brother and then me and then 2 younger sisters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so like 2 and 2. But Dustin, my brother, is very sort of analytic and sort of, like you said, he was sort of the responsible one and like the one that I feel like he's very like, not dependent, but I was always very like independent and wanted to do my own thing. It was sort of more like artistic and creative, and like
the younger siblings are more fun. They tend to be the more fun siblings.
And then he was always very responsible and like wanting to like make my parents very proud and like sort of stick to the rules. I was very much a goody two shoes, but my brother probably even more. But there definitely is still like, I'm immediately like, I graduated high school, I'm like, I'm ready to move out of the house. And Dustin was like, he was fine chilling at home. And there's and then I'm sure there's other dynamics as well, but there is a sort of a maybe it's because I got off a little easy because my brother went through it first, and my parents were probably a lot more strict with him, and then it's like become less so as
100%.
There's more and more
and then
kids.
I think that also is kind of what kind of shapes that prodigal son dynamic of like the loyal older one and then the more adventurous like.
What's funny too is because I'm also like much taller than my brother, so it is sort of a Luigi Mario kind of situation where I always assumed Luigi was the younger brother.
Yeah, me too. I assume Luigi, and I'm not going to even look it up. Even though that's where if by not looking it up, I'm once again taking us on the path to the 90s.
He's not the title character. I was like, because he's not the. I guess he would be a title character in Mario Bros, but it's like there's one character named Mario.
I feel like Luigi is the younger brother. Yeah. At least I like committing to that idea because I like the Luigi always to me felt like he didn't have as many responsibilities as Mario because the franchise didn't bear his name. So I feel like
till Luigi's Mansion, which is suddenly he's a ghost catcher. Just hilarious.
That's fantastic. I think the dynamic we should play up is this like idea of like a fun, less responsible younger brother, and like the older, like kind of pent up, stuck up older brother who
he owns the plumbing business, and Luigi is just like, working there.
Why do we call it Mario Brothers? You don't name it after your first name. Like that could be the whole like joke about their company is that he literally named it Mario Brothers, but he like how in the world is that fair? Is and about brothers if it's named after him?
Yeah. And then he's Luigi maybe longs to do something else, but he's like there at the job and like sort of daydreaming and like slacking off and like doing his thing, but he works there just because he has to. I like the idea of maybe them, and this would be different definitely than what we've seen, but if the movie starts and then maybe they don't have that greater relationship with each other and it's about them sort of by the end becoming bros,
what if Luigi wants to own, Mario's named after their father, Mario, and that's who owned the plumbing business, right?
Yeah, he's a junior or a third or fourth or whatever.
And Luigi wants to join the family business. Luigi's like the prodigal son returned, wants to join the family business, and Mario technically has to according to the will, but doesn't want to. And there's bad blood between the two of them. And that's when they discover a portal in a toilet.
Yeah, it's got to be some sort of... No, I mean, seriously though, because there's got to be some sort of sci-fi device that gets them sucked into.
And it needs to be like Being John Malkovich. Like it needs to be this Charlie Kaufman kind of weird, surreal, but super grounded thing. I'm trying to see like what the narrative... The fantasy setting of the Mushroom Kingdom, a tribe of turtle-like creatures known as the Koopa Troopas invade the kingdom and uses the magic of its king Bowser to turn its inhabitants, known as the Mushroom People, into inanimate objects such as bricks, stones, and horsehair plants. Bowser and his army also kidnap Princess Toadstool, the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, the only one with the ability to reverse Bowser's spell. After hearing the news, Mario sets out to save the princess and free the kingdom from Bowser. After traveling through various parts of the kingdom and fighting Bowser's forces along the way, Mario reaches Bowser's final stronghold where he's able to defeat him by striking an axe to the bridge suspended over lava he is standing on, breaking the bridge, defeating Bowser, and allowing for the princess to be freed and saving the Mushroom Kingdom. What I know is that Mario began in Donkey Kong, correct? And
yeah.
And then expanded...
Yeah, and Super Mario World's basically that same story, but with updated graphics and gameplay.
Ben, my brother Ben and I used to joke that I think Ben made up this, the creators of I forget their names, the creators of the Super Mario Brothers, we're just sitting in their apartment trying to think of what their video game should be about, and their plumber shows up and it's like, hey, I'm here to fix the pipes, and they're like, oh yeah, it's right over there, bathroom's right over there, and he goes, all right, let me just jump at this plant to get over there. Jumps over the house plant. The stupidest.
And the camera pushes in and it's like, got it. This big moment. It's like a Slumdog Millionaire moment.
While this Italian plumber is jumping over their plants.
He's like, oh no, I hit my head on the brick on the ceiling.
I'm a bigger now.
Do you mind if I eat my mushroom?
Nintendo fans, who else have we offended so far on this? Brothers?
It's everyone Italian.
Both of our brothers.
Yeah, you remember that Chris Pratt is playing Mario in the animated movie coming out?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. Chris Pratt is all of us.
Yeah, okay. So I guess we can figure this out, but this emotional journey of these two brothers sort of by the end, it's almost like a 21 Jump Street-esque thing where it's like by the end they learn that how to be better friends and unite and work together as a team. But I feel like if we have something tragic that maybe happened in their past that has caused a rift in their relationship and they can kind of use that to sort of get back together. I'm just trying to think of our classic character driven, there's got to be something that's really big and something to unite them other than just
I think
saving.
Well, I think that this might be cliche, but it's the idea of this company, this plumbing company that Mario inherited from their father. They both inherited, but Luigi didn't want. But the idea that Mario sees himself as having earned everything he wants, and Luigi feeling entitled to what he wants, but Luigi being you literally inherited the company.
I mean, you can see even if it's that's our family's this is what we have. This is the legacy of our dad, and I don't even get to take part in his because I feel there's something there with his sort of Mario getting to sort of be the herald of their family's legacy or whatever, while Luigi just is sort of there standing idly by as the second child that
I think Luigi is just a character who wants to prove himself to himself and to Mario this entire time, and so
what if we sort of play people expect it to be this movie movie to be, once they're in like, what is it, Mushroom Kingdom or Koopa Land or whatever it is, for Mario to sort of like take the lead and be like the main guy. But what if Luigi is sort of Mario is in trouble and has to sort of prove himself in the sort of sci-fi Mario Land kind of thing? Because I think it'd be fun to see, well, I guess we'd want to see them being brothers and bouncing off each other, but it'd be interesting if, this is going to be a terrible comp, but Dumb and Dumber, how Harry and, are you a Dumb and Dumber fan?
I'm someone who has seen it many times in their life. I don't know if I'm still a fan or not because I haven't seen it in years.
But it's like Harry and Lloyd that are both, Lloyd obviously was the one who met, Swanson, Mary Swanson. But then they eventually, like, they both fall in love with her, and then Harry gets the girl, and then, by the end, they, it's a bromance thing where it's like they just care about each other, and but like if there's with Princess Peach and stuff, I feel like there's interesting things we could do with like just like playing with the audience's expectations of what's going to happen in a Mario movie. Yeah. Like for Luigi for the roles to kind of switch and Luigi to be there to like sort of prove himself and do the things that we'd expect Mario to do. And then I don't know. There's something there that's interesting to me. And the similar way that 21 Jump Street kind of switched the roles and made the nerd really popular and the football guy that was like kind of lame now.
Yeah, I totally agree. Where I'm getting hung up is trying to figure out how I'm thinking of the external story and like how what our version is, how they get to this Mushroom Kingdom and what it means to them. Like, is it a random thing that happens to them? Is it something that they're like, is it somewhere that their father actually disappeared to? I don't like that.
When father disappeared back.
Yeah.
Italian.
Nope. We're not doing that anymore. I just feel like.
No, they were Italian Americans that speak like regular people.
Yeah, like regular people. And I'm trying to think like, is it some old warehouse that they go to and they get called into? Is it some like, I don't want it to be a toilet portal. No one wants a toilet portal.
Well, I mean, if there's like a supply store or whatever, they're like picking up PVC pipe for whatever, and maybe they look back and there's one that's like something's glowing back there or whatever, and they look inside and gets, fall
Why are they the only ones that ever like fall into this mushroom? Like, I feel like it needs to be a portal that always exists in the city somewhere, that they happen to stumble upon that no one else would normally stumble upon. Maybe not.
It's funny too, thinking about this in sort of a grounded sort of A24 movie. It's like it's starting and then it evolving into this, sort of Mushroom Kingdom kind of craziness.
Is there somewhere they go like when they fall asleep? Like they get some apartment and it happens every time they fall asleep, and it's like treated as almost like a drug trip at first, and then we fully commit to it as a movie.
Yeah, mushrooms, the shrooms. They're taking shrooms and going.
I don't want to go full drug with it, but.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm thinking about Eternal Sunshine. So like the sort of crazy sort of dream. I forget how does that work, and how do they explain that in Eternal Sunshine? The sort of crazy.
You go. It's like a whole commercial. For in a business, you go to the business and you like sign up to remove someone from your memory or like the thing, and you bring pictures of them and everything that reminds you of them there, and then they come over at night and they put the thing on you and you sleep. But the movie is from the perspective of the character while they're being. While the person's being erased.
There's something there about it being sort of a figment of their imagination to an extent, but playing it as if it is reality, and then they come back to, and it's, still getting to play in like the sci-fi sort of element, but still keeping it very grounded in reality. There's something interesting to that idea, but I don't know other than
What about this? It's a bromance. What if these two brothers love each other and get along super well? Is there something to playing a story where we test rather than starting off at odds, like, do we actually have it start with these two brothers that like Luigi? It's like Luigi's finally wants to join the company.
We look at it like a romantic movie, just make it about bros, basically.
Yeah, maybe Luigi comes home and wants to join the company again, and Mario's super excited about it. And at first, it seems like a wonderful thing. He comes home from
ghost hunting, he's a paranormal investigator, Luigi.
I actually think we should 100%. That's what he was off doing, trying to do.
100%. Luigi's Mansion style. He was being a paranormal investigator. Mario's back plumbing, doing his thing.
And the thing is, he's like excited that he's back, but and they're like, they're like killing it at the business. Mario doesn't mention or say any. It's kind of passive aggressive about Luigi's exploits, trying to be a paranormal investigator. And then Luigi can pick up on something going on at some apartment or at some place. Like Luigi can be what leads us, his paranormal investigation, this like side hobby, like when are you gonna stop trying to be in a band thing, can actually carry us into this other world.
Yes, love that. There's also also, just looking at our idea pile, we also have terminal diagnosis. I don't know if there's something or someone in their life that maybe brings Luigi back in, where it makes them like maybe in their family where he's like, it made me really realize how important family is, and like I want to come back to the, to like help you and be a plumber or whatever.
Does he have a terminal diagnosis?
Interesting that we don't know of yet.
Yeah, he doesn't tell him about.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
we can do a cult by making the Bowser thing a cult if we wanted to.
Oh yeah, I don't really. They can just say like what we're like in some summation of like the whole like where they are.
Yeah,
they can describe Koopa's people as a cult in this mushroom. Like you know what I mean? Like
yeah. Oh, that I'm assuming is our wild card call. I'm going to answer it, and I hope the studio isn't too mean to me. Here we go. Studio?
Sure, whatever you say.
Wow, jeez. Great way to start the conversation. Yeah, what can we do for you?
Hey guys, there have been some developments since we last spoke. You'll find all the details in the facts we just sent over. It is unclear where my voice is coming from.
All right.
I answered the phone. That's where it's come from, the studio. So
today's wildcard mandate.
Oh, I didn't even get the fact. Okay, cool.
They want this film to kick off its own cinematic universe?
Yeah, we could fit that. Studio, that's an easy one. We can, we're kind of already on that train, so done.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon, studio.
We're so excited to hear what you come up with. Talk soon. I love you very much.
Oh, you too, pal.
Oh, thanks so much. You too. Hang up. Okay. Cinematic universe. We just have some sort of end credits, sequel, whatever. But yes, I like where we're going with this. About 20 minutes left. So yeah, Luigi's coming back. Secretly has a terminal diagnosis. That's part of why he's coming back to the family business. And maybe we start off, sort of in our first act is, him coming back, or maybe we see a day in the life of Mario as a plumber doing his thing. Luigi comes back. Everyone's super happy. Maybe Luigi disappears, or he goes to do, I guess that's our thing. If he's back at the family business, but he's going to, maybe he has a lead on something paranormal that's happening and that's just his passion. So he's going to do it, and it ends up being a portal or something.
And Mario thinks that it's all hogwash. The whole like paranormal investigation thing is like, why are you wasting your time with all that stuff while I'm trying to keep Dad's company alive? And so maybe he's like Luigi's kind of pulled back into it, or you're right. Maybe he's back in town because there is no, I think he should be back because of his diagnosis. But like, what is our portal? Like, what's our passageway?
It's tough. I think of things like there's the little sewer. What do you call that? Little metal sewer thing.
Manhole?
Yeah, manhole. Got stuff like that. Like toilets, tubes. But I feel like those are all like classic. Like I feel like Mario, you just like fall in and then you're in the other location. But I feel like I don't know if that's the tone of
the original was like the original movie. They like were down in the sewers or something, and there was some passageway, and that's where the princess came out of, and they followed her back in there, and she left the stone, some like crystal stone or something that around her neck that was needed. Which I don't hate it. Is the thing. Yeah. Like I do actually like the idea of the princess somehow escaping. I like starting it in the real world. The first act is in the real world, and you actually play it straight, and Luigi meets this weirdo woman at a bar or on the street or something, and it's the princess, and we actually kind of steal a little bit from the original 90s film. And Luigi wants to like follow her and explore and pursue, and Mario's like, stop with the ghost hunting crap. He's like, there's no ghosts involved here. He's like, okay, then what is it? He's like, she's a princess of a mushroom land, of a mushroom.
I think it'd be interesting too if Luigi kind of has a crush on her.
Well, yeah, that's what it's in the original film.
I'm forgetting, so I didn't know. I'm sorry.
I'm forgetting nothing.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's not bad. Like, of course he would have a crush on her.
So, but we still have the problem of where is she running to? She dives into a toilet.
Well, if she just finds this passageway that emerges her in some, I do like it actually being in like some, we could steal from Being John Malkovich. What if it's in this like abandoned office building?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And she just like emerges from the bathroom in some office building, we see her do that, but then she meets up with Luigi and tells her, and like she's like, what if she's like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only only hope. Although I would like to make her not a damsel in distress somehow.
She can be like Warrior Peach, you know? Maybe she just needs more, I don't know why she'd come to a plumber and a paranormal investigator.
Maybe she'd go to the first person that she ran into, right?
Yeah. If she's like from this land and this is the real world is a foreign place to her, and she's like, I'm looking for, you know, people to help me in my fight against it's more like recruiting than looking for help, you know?
Well, then what if instead of a princess, what if it's like
what's his name? Little
Toad?
Toad, yeah.
What would Toad be in our world? Like, would it be like a CG character?
Isn't he a little mushroom guy?
Yeah.
The game, yeah. I mean, maybe Luigi could think he's a ghost, like, and he's like, it's his first, one of his first experiences actually seeing a physical manifestation of a ghost, and he starts to communicate with it, and then like he actually touches it, and he's like, oh shit, you're real, and he's like, yes, I've been trying to tell you, I need help.
He gives this whole
fighting.
Speech, and Luigi's like, and you talk.
Yes, and so maybe it is via the paranormal investigation that checks out more to me. Like that feels more like in line with what we're going than like a random bathtub that they fall or toilet they fall into. But then if Toad's the one that's sort of inviting Luigi, maybe Luigi goes back to Mario and tells him the story. And he's like, you've really got to stop doing that. Like, we're plumbers. He kind of tries to bring him back to Earth a bit.
What if there's this like urban legend of like the Toad Man that lives in some building in the part of the city, and Luigi
like
finds out about it. Somebody has a
something.
tattoo of the Toad Man, or there's some graffiti of the Toad Man, and it's like this weird interpretation of the Toad Man, and Luigi wants to know more about it and can't help but check it out. And maybe Mario follows him because he doesn't. Maybe what if works from Mario's perspective, and he's following Luigi because he doesn't know what Luigi's doing. He thinks Luigi's like buying drugs or something, and follows him, and he's like, I'm looking for the Toad Man, okay? And he's like, doing this ghost hunter crap again? Like, what do you know? I thought you're serious about this business. He's like, I'm serious about this business. We're doing the business. Like, I'm here. Like, how is me looking for the Toad Man affecting the business? He's like, well, if you're out here and you die in the middle of the night looking for a mysterious Toad Man, it's like, I'm not dying. I'm like, and that's when they find the Toad Man, and it's a talking Toad. And now they're both like wondering, like, if there's a gas leak in this building.
Am I going crazy? What is happening? And Luigi's like, I told you it was real.
No,
I told you,
call
like
him Toad Man. They call him the Mushroom Man. His name is Toad. So the Mushroom Man. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. No, yeah. He's a little happy looking mushroom guy named Toad. And and then Luigi can kind of use that to like, I told you like what I was doing was real. Like it's not a joke. My job.
I want Toad to not speak. I want Toad to like me. Like, I don't know.
That's what Toad Mario sound. Let's see what he sounds like. This is from Mario Party 9. This is the Toad voice sounds.
Here we go.
That's freakish.
Oh.
I'm just seeing him as like a Muncher type character.
Yes. This is okay, so that's what Toad sounds like. It checks out. It said here we go, but then it couldn't say anything else.
Okay, that's great. It just says here we go.
Yes. Like, and then makes sounds like I don't know what you're trying to say. But they have to like follow a Toad through a portal or something.
Luigi forces Mario like to go with them, like to follow. He has to follow Toad.
That's interesting. Going. Yes. And then we're set off, and now we're sort of in a story where we have Luigi who's eager to see this. He's like, he's got a terminal diagnosis. His whole life he's been like longing to like actually find a ghost and like be like in this scenario where Mario just wants to be back home running the family business, and maybe we can create some stakes with something with the family business too, where I don't know off the top of my head, but that can create some butting heads between Luigi and Mario.
Okay, what if Luigi returns? Opening scene, like Luigi's come home. He wants to join the company, the business again. Boom, high five. And they're killing it, right? What if Luigi disappeared and Mario had to like look for him? Like had to ask around, like he's seen this guy, whatever. And he's like, yeah, he was looking for the Mushroom Man. The Mushroom Man? Which obviously sounds like drugs. Like he's buying drugs.
Yeah.
So he follows. It's like what if Mario finds Toad on his own?
That's interesting. Yeah. And Luigi's already in the world.
Yeah. And
yes,
so
I love that.
Then when he gets in there, he finds Luigi in there at some point somehow, and maybe in Bowser's castle or something, like, and he breaks him out, like, so the whole thing is about rescuing his brother.
And Warrior Peach can help her, like, help Mario in that quest as well. And it could be, although...
What if it was like Hook, but instead of the kids, it's Luigi, and instead of Peter Pan, it's Mario.
I mean, that's a good pitch.
And he's like, why don't you? What if Mario was once there as a child and he doesn't remember any of it? It's basically Hook.
It's all coming back to him as he returns.
Yeah.
Like once he's immersed in it, he can start to remember. And he flies through the air with his little squirrel. Squirrel hat or whatever.
He's like, how the hell do I have raccoon tail?
Yeah, raccoon. Yeah.
Why do you have a raccoon tail? It's like, holy mother. Like he lands, it's so triumphant that he's flying, and Luigi's like, Mario, why do you have a raccoon tail? Like, oh my god, I don't know.
Tanuki Mario. Yes, I mean that's interesting. I don't know if I do like the story we're coming up with.
What if, instead of taking out the he was there as a child and forgot about it part, but still following the structure of Hook, where it's Mario trying to find Luigi and rescuing Luigi?
Because I mean, you think of like a romance movie. I mean, there's as long as with the bromance, we're still sort of telling a story about Mario trying to get back to his one true love, which is his bro. And reunite. And so we can tell it through the lens of a classic adventure tale. Sci-fi, I feel like we're going to need to do some work to figure out to make this more sci-fi than fantasy, because it still very much feels like, and I know there's not that.
I think if we talk about it like it is 100%, like aesthetically, it's like Dune. The mushroom world
Dude, that would be awesome. That would be freaking cool.
The mushroom world is like Dune, and everything in the main world is like Eternal Sunshine, like very like Charlie Kaufman-esque. And then everything in the mushroom world is like Dune.
We have a giant, what's the plant? The piranha plant, but it's like the size of a sandworm.
Yeah, out of these pipes, rusty old pipes in a big desert.
And you have like Mario shooting fireballs at it.
I mean,
like freaking DBZ.
I'm all in. Like, I feel like if we describe the aesthetic by making those comparisons, I think we can win over our target audience.
Yeah, and then we tell, just like Dune, we tell a very emotional, character-driven story with
Dune
this
is fantasy.
like
How is Dune sci-fi?
grand. I guess you can get away with saying sci-fi fantasy like you do with.
I think when there's technology,
kind of come on,
right? Like you do Star Wars.
And I guess we ran into this when we did our hard sci-fi, but sci-fi would be like sort of rooted in the science fiction. Where Dune, you can say like a lot of this technology we would imagine being because isn't it like 10,000 years into the future or something?
Oh, is it? If that's
world
the case,
of Dune,
then I understand. That makes sense.
We could say that the Mushroom Kingdom is like what Earth becomes in 10,000 years or whatever.
I don't think that's necessary. I think if we just say Eternal Sunshine and then we say Dune, I think I'll be there on opening night to see it.
So this is Eternal Sunshine meets Dune, and it's a story about two brothers.
Really, what it is really it's about a guy losing his brother. It's about a guy like learning to love his brother for who he is and not expecting anything else of him. It's about loving the people in your life, meeting them where they are, and loving them.
I love it, dude.
Are,
this is great.
Right?
Yes, and I love the idea of Mario sort of accepting Luigi for the kind of person that he is by the end. Because if his whole thing is like, just join the family business, like do what we always have done in this family, which is this job where Luigi has always longed to do his own thing and have that freedom and independence while still loving his family. There's something there that's really interesting to me where Mario would still be a protagonist, but he's sort of his emotional change by the end is accepting his brother for who he is and like, loving him for who he is kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I really love because there's times where I have a great relationship with my family. I love my family, but there has been times where I have felt, because of, I see a little bit differently. I feel like I'm loved in a different way than, my brother, who is a lot more like my parents, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I'm sorry. I love you for exactly who you are.
No, and I feel loved by them as well. There's just like times where it's like,
Well, your family inadvertently like puts you in a box for what kind of personality you are, what you like, what you would expect, like what kind of behavior they expect from you, taste they expect from you, thought like ideas and beliefs they expect from you. And it's frustrating sometimes be in that box, to like be seen as like, that's the little brother, or that's not even like that anything extreme as that's the screw up, but just like, oh yeah, he can't handle paying a bill. Like, you know what? Maybe he can. Like maybe stop projecting that onto him.
For sure. Yeah, this is great. I love that. So we have about 3.5 minutes left. So we have a great theme and sort of for a story. I feel like our comps go a long way in terms of pitching what the movie is.
Yes.
So I think, Mario tries, I think we can just kind of talk about a few different like set pieces or like sort of just little trailer moments and maybe just like an overview of just like the finale of something that could happen. Because I think Mario can meet Princess Peach, who in this universe is sort of like a badass, warrior who maybe has if we have a warrior Peach and her sort of tribe of, I guess like toad people, like Koopas, I guess they would be called, right?
No,
Koopas are the bad.
I thought that was from the game.
I'm trying to think of the good characters, though.
So let's see. Oh, it's Bowser, not Koopa. Koopa came from
Bowser. Koopa Troopas are like Koopa Trooper are like the bad. They're the sort of minion characters.
Koopa
like
came from the. Oh yeah, Koopa Troopas invade the kingdom and use the magic of its king Bowser. So Koopa Troopas, Bowser.
I think Goombas are good.
It's inhabitants of the mushroom people.
Oh no, Goombas are bad. Never mind. It goes like Goomba and then
the good guys are the mushroom people.
Koopa Troopa. Yeah. So the mushroom, but she has like it's Prince and like Princess Peach
Toadstool.
and her tribe of like mushroom warriors or whatever.
Apparently her name is Princess Toadstool. Oh, Princess Peach Toadstool is her name.
Yes. So she can just go by like Warrior Toadstool or something like that if we want to change it up. But so
yeah, I want her to be like Furiosa, man.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's totally what I'm imagining. But it's like Mario can team up with them. Eventually, he's got to find out about Luigi's terminal diagnosis. Maybe we'd use the next minute and a half trying to figure out some of these ideas, incorporating some ideas for free points. We have a cult. We can talk about the cult of Bowser,
Those are the
which
Koopa
is
Troopas.
Yeah, we can just call it the cult of Bowser. Is the
I don't think they call it that. I think that Mario calls it like this, like Bowser cult, or like this. I think it's a joke. They refer to them as a cult.
I was just thinking about Ghostbusters. What is it? Is it the cult of Gozer that they?
Oh yeah, and I think that we refer to them as that, but they don't refer to themselves as that, right?
Yeah.
Like the movie doesn't, like the toys don't call them the cult of.
Do you think by the end Luigi should die, or do you think he should be healed in Mushroom Kingdom?
I kind of
because we got to have a sequel set up still for.
I kind of feel like he should die. We have a character who dies again, so. And you have the whole gimmick of in video games of having a certain number of lives. Like
that is true. Maybe in this world you can die and die again. Maybe that's
yeah.
Maybe Mario dies immediately when he enters the world because he's so out of touch with this new place, and then he can die one more time.
Well, so the idea
he's
that
out of lives.
The video game idea that I told you about in the Polybius episode called Pilot Light, the whole thing there. I'll say it on this podcast, and because I'm probably never gonna make that thing, but no one can steal it because I made it up, even though it's not original. It's like a video game. Guy dies. Like every time the guy dies, he wakes back up at like what essentially is an earlier checkpoint and keeps waking up at those moments. So when he dies, there's always specific little checkpoints where he'll wake back up and it'll be like Groundhog Day or Edge of Tomorrow. But it's essentially like Edge of Tomorrow, but those moments change. By the way, I thought of this before Edge of Tomorrow. I'm that brilliant. I'm such a genius. So we could do a dynamic like that to where every time they enter a new world, like it's kind of seen as like a checkpoint where if they die and they have however many lives they have left.
Yeah, I think we do that as well. Because I mean, ultimately, video game world, we still need to satisfy some of the like conventions that the video game fans would love within that.
And it's really just when you're here, when you die, like it's seen as like this spiritual thing of like
They explain it like the way the Dune explains the suits that they wear. That takes your sweat and pee and stuff and turns it into water for you.
So they die. Or part of me wants Luigi to die in the real world. Like part of me wants them to get back to the real world, and then suddenly Luigi dies, and it's not in the mushroom world. Like it's
I mean, it's terminal diagnosis. I think it'd be more impactful if Mario like learns to love him and they're united, and then that's when it's revealed to him.
Does he come back as a ghost at the end?
Dude, that's good. That's the sequel setup right there.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion music plays as camera pushes in and Luigi appears like
maybe that's that old house. That old house, like where the mushroom man was spotted, like that old like whatever becomes or that old like penthouse apartment or something or whatever building it was in, that becomes Luigi's mansion. Like
yes.
In the sequel and at the end.
And I like the idea of it, even if like post credits we're pushing in on a gravestone of Luigi and like a bluish like spirit emerges from the grave.
Or we have something that Luigi always does, like some music that he always plays and some song he loves or something, or some TV show he loves to watch or something, and we cut to the post credit sequences outside that old mansion or old place that we've been going to, and then you start to hear the song playing from inside the house and a light like flickers up in one of the windows or something, and that's the post credits.
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's got to come back. Yeah, that's great.
I guess we're done. I guess I didn't hear the voice. Did the voice stop us?
Yeah, it looks like
time to pitch your movie.
It is time to pitch your movie. So let's get this focus group in.
All right.
Our guest today is an actor you might have seen on The Chosen or more recently on Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone spinoff 1883 on Paramount Plus. He also hosts the podcast What's Your Limp? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jordan Ross to the show.
What's up?
Yay!
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the show, man. I think today we've got a pretty fun movie to pitch you. But before we do that, I'm gonna tell you what we were assigned by the big Hollywood studio. Our genre that we developed a movie in was bromance. Our tone is thrilling as hell.
Okay.
Our demographic is fans of character-driven sci-fi, which I know you fall under because we put that in the generator from your request. And
Yes.
the studio mandate was that it needed to be a adaptation of a popular video game.
Okay.
And then halfway through the show, we were giving a wild card mandate that said it needed to start its own cinematic universe. And so I actually said, I feel like we need a clever sort of A24 title for this movie that is a little bit more clever than what it's based on. But
I know. I think Super Mario Bromance is the correct title.
I love that.
Spoiler alert, we are doing a Mario Bros. Spinoff, or I guess adaptation. Seth, would you want to set the stage for what our Super Mario Bromance is about?
Yes. So first off, at the heart of it, it is about these two brothers, Mario and Luigi.
Imagine if we just completely changed their name to something else.
I know, it'd be ridiculous.
It's like, I know the name of the brothers.
So I know
Yeah.
Mario. Well, like when our story starts, Luigi is kind of the returned prodigal son coming home, wanting to rejoin and help Mario run the family business that they inherited from their dad, the Mario Brothers Plumbing. Their father's name was Mario, and father's name was Mario, and for some reason they named it after his first name rather than last name. And Mario's ecstatic. These two guys, they love each other.
Is Mario his first and last name? Mario.
No, we're not following that trope from the 90s film.
From the 90s
okay.
movie.
Although we do acknowledge that joke and love it. We haven't committed to a last name for them yet, and maybe we'll say it, maybe we won't. But the idea is that Mario and Luigi love each other. Mario's super excited to have him back home. But we will start to see in this first act that like the two of them, even while they're like killing it at the business, like Mario does have some things, like some passive aggressive things, like attitudes toward Luigi. Luigi, what he was off doing was trying to be a paranormal investigator and run his like own like ghost hunting company and even get like a show on AMC going, or not AMC, but like a show on the.
He's sort of this creative free spirit that likes his independence, and where Mario was the older brother growing up that sort of did everything right and made their family really proud. Right. Luigi kind of like doing his own thing, and so yeah, like Seth said.
So when Dad died, Mario kept the business running and everything, and Luigi's like even though Mario's ecstatic to have his brother back and loves him, there's these undealt with, unprocessed like bitterness toward his brother, or like grudges he might hold. And Luigi, meanwhile, like one night goes missing, and Mario goes looking for him, and we've hinted at a little bit that Luigi might have also been kind of like there might be a substance abuse issue like in the past with Luigi or whatever. Like Luigi is kind of like he's the like I said, the prodigal son, like in Mario's the responsible older brother who has kind of held it together for the family. So he's worried his brother has gone off on some like binge and has disappeared, and so he goes looking for him and finds that Luigi went looking for the Mushroom Man, which is this like urban legend. He finds out first off, Mario's like, that's a drug dealer clearly, and it's not. It turns out it's this urban myth, this urban legend of this like little mushroom looking man that lives in this like on this block in one of these old abandoned like buildings. And so he's like, well shit, now it's that ghost hunting crap that he's doing now, and he's gotten himself killed by some meth head back in one of these buildings. So he goes looking for his brother, and he finds this mushroom man, this tiny, we know it is Toad, but it's this tiny little mushroom man who speaks only in, what is the only thing he says, Ryan?
He says, "Here we go," and then that's the only English he knows, and the
Here we
rest
go,
is just
and then
weird
just,
sounds.
"Ooh,
And
ha,
so
yay,"
and so Mario, in this sort of abandoned, sort of creepy, dark area, for a second he thinks it's a ghost, and he's like, "Wait, was Luigi right? Like, are we sort of this?" And so he like goes to touch it, and he like can touch it. He's like, "Oh, holy shit! Like this thing's real!" And basically, this thing leads him through this portal, and
by portal, it's like I'm sorry, I do want to cut in because I forgot to mention the aesthetics here, which are very important in the comps here. Like, this is like everything in the real world here in the first act is very Charlie Kaufman-esque. Think like Eternal Sunshine or Being John Malkovich. Like it's all very, very grounded. And this portal is like a burned hole
Super
in
Mario
a building in a bathroom, right? What did you say, Polly?
I said A24 Super Mario Bros.
That's really what we're trying to pitch here is an A24 Super Mario Brothers. Once he follows Toad into this portal to find his brother, and this portal again is like some ventilation shaft in some old rundown bathroom in this old building. He comes out in the Mushroom Kingdom and the Mushroom Mushroom Kingdom.
And the world opens up to this Dune-esque sci-fi, very realistic sort of looking sci-fi world where almost we can even have that sort of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol moment where aspect ratio grows as he's in this new world.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're in this, it's like very sci-fi fantasy world, but also still grounded in a way that you wouldn't expect from, when you hear Mario
super
Bros.
Grounded, super colorful, something we have not seen before. Like we just haven't seen this kind of like vibrant world feeling unbelievably real.
Kind of like Wizard of Oz or like Alice in Wonderland, except in this gritty sci-fi tone.
And gritty and sci-fi, but still vibrant and colorful somehow. Again, like I don't know what to compare it to.
That sets us off on this journey where we don't sort of have beat by beat of the rest of the story, but the gist of it is it tells the story of these two brothers, Luigi, who has been captured by Bowser, sort of the leader of this cult. He's
the Koopa Troopas.
You would think, Koopa Troopas, and they're sort of think of a very realistic looking sort of evil, almost like Thanos style sort of villain. He's not like
I don't know. The bad guy in Dune is a pretty good one. Think of like a Morton Joe or the guy in Dune, because they're like, what's great about them is they're these figures in power that have significant power, but physically they are falling apart and grotesque, and that's kind of Bowser too. Like I really love the bad guy in Dune, and I think it's Skarsgård. The story structure we're essentially like we're kind of following here in a way is kind of like the movie Hook, where Peter's having to venture in and learn this world in order to save his kids, and Mario is having to learn this world in order to find and save Luigi. Difference is we find Luigi, around the midpoint of the movie, and the second half of the movie is the two of them learning to work together. And Polly, I'm sorry, I'll let you tell the rest of it.
No. I was going to just talk about the emotional journey. So we have Mario who is sort of harboring resentment against Luigi and sort of for not doing the family business and for kind of doing his own thing. And sort of throughout the movie, we kind of see Mario learn to love Luigi for the person that he is and to like sort of learn to love him despite his differences that he has from their family. And Luigi sort of for the first time feeling loved uniquely, the way that he is, because he's always kind of felt different from his family and has felt like they've been sort of, holding that against him. So it's sort of like these two brothers learning to love each other in a deeper way. And on their journey, Mario meets this woman, Peach, who's sort of this Furiosa-like warrior, and her warrior Peach and her sort of toad people, I guess the mushroom people, that are sort of these warriors trying to fight against, I guess Dune's a great comparison because we sort of have like our sort of the sand people and Dune, and then you have your I forget what they're called. So against this cult-like people who are trying to take over the Mushroom Kingdom.
And I think Peach helps Mario find Luigi and rescue him, but then she gets taken in the process, and then the two of them then spend like the entire third act rescuing her and helping her finish her mission, like in defeating Bowser. A big thing to reveal, in this process is that what Luigi hasn't told Mario is the reason he came home and wanted to rejoin the company is because he got a terminal diagnosis. Luigi's dying, and he hasn't told Mario. And he's dropped little hints about it, but then we find out about it, in the second half of the movie, and that brings all of these emotions to the surface and forces them to like really see this as like one last adventure together, rescuing Peach. I feel like I'm jumping around, Polly, but I just remembered our whole death rebirth thing in this world.
I think I was just going to hit on like sort of throughout the film too. Right when Mario enters the Mushroom Kingdom, obviously it's a much more dangerous place than he's used to on sort of a grounded world, and he like immediately dies in the movie.
You make it a really funny moment where you're you're not expecting it. It's anticlimactic, and he just falls in this pit, just straight up falls and dies.
And then he reanimates, and I know we've seen it in a movie like Jumanji, but he sort of reanimates, and we learn through when he meets Peach that there's this spiritual sort of connection to the world where we learn that there's sort of a grounded excuse for why they have multiple lives, similar to the video game, but we sort of, Mario
very
dies maybe one more time
to die
in the movie.
And come back to life. Even coming back to life is a very painful and weird experience that you don't want to repeat, and your body can only handle it. Your body and soul, I think, can only handle it a certain number of times, they determine, and that kind of dictates our lives.
So we have our stakes there too, where we see that, he's already died twice and he only has one life left, kind of thing. So, but anyways,
and then he gets to do some weird rebirth, like a lot of weird visual. Like for some, I was thinking of Annihilation. Some of the weird visuals there of like
so good.
The creatures, and then whenever she sees seeing like the climax of that film when she's having this kind of face off with this bizarre shape shifting thing,
which is funny because in Super Smash Bros we have the Metal Mario, that it's like the same exact thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
What a great reference Annihilation is.
We love that movie.
We really want to get Luigi back. Once they accomplish their mission and they get back to the real world,
conquer Bowser.
They get back
jump
to the
on
world
him
Luigi.
together.
We want Luigi dies, and we think he dies in the world, but they're actually we want to stage it in a way to where like, oh crap, it happened right on the precipice, on the edge of the portal, whatever, and so Luigi's actually dying. Like he doesn't get to come back, and Mario tries to get him back into the world before he dies because then he can be reborn because he has another life left or something, but doesn't get him there in time. They say their goodbyes, right? And that's like we get this great closure between these two brothers, and then we want this.
It's like very bittersweet ending because we see them sort of love each other and sort of come to they're finally united in their brotherhood by the end. But then of course Luigi dies. We see the end of the movie with Mario sort of having this successful plumbing business, and
that's now called Mario and Luigi Plumbing or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And we have sort of like a photo of Luigi, the family and stuff. At the end, we cut to credits. And
when does Mario find out about Luigi's terminal diagnosis?
Oh, that's like toward the all is lost moment of that's like right before that's when everything is falling apart and they're all
It may have you seen Paddleton on Netflix with Mark Duplass and Ray Romano? It's so good. It's not like sci-fi or anything like that, but it's a whole movie about Mark Duplass plays a character who has a terminal cancer diagnosis, and him and his best friend Ray Romano, they're neighbors in their apartment building. They're just kind of like these like sad sack lonely guys that just when they're not working spend all their time together watching Star Trek and stuff like that. And when Mark Duplass gets his terminal diagnosis, he doesn't want to try to go through all of any treatments or anything like that because there's not really any hope for him. And he hears about assisted suicide in some states where you can, if you have a terminal diagnosis, you can essentially go get a prescribed medicine and end your life on your terms, where apparently that's something that's legal in some places. And he convinces his best friend to go on this road trip with him to another state where he can get that prescribed medication. And it's such a bittersweet, like somber movie because it's these two like brother-like characters that are going on this trip and having all this fun, but then they keep remembering like, oh, this is why like we're going on this trip because he's going to die. And the moment that you're talking about with like Mario and Luigi, kind of once you watch that movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. But the end of that movie is similar to how you described the Mario and Luigi.
I love that. I love that comparison so much.
And I like grounding it and making it something that viewers would be able to really empathize and feel these characters as if they're real people.
Mad that they're crying at a Super Mario Brothers movie. That they're moved by it like deeply. Which brings us to the post-credit sequence where we cut to a wide. It's really maybe the first time we've ever seen a wide shot of this building where this portal exists, right? And it looks almost like an old mansion. And we hear this song. It's the idea we've kind of thrown about the bad version is like that there's some song, Luigi's favorite song, that like comes up in the movie throughout, and we start to hear it faintly coming from inside the mansion. Theme. And then there's like kind of a ghostly light from one of the windows, and we cut to black, implying that our sequel is all about Luigi.
And it says Mario and Luigi will return.
And like a ghost. Nice. And it's like Luigi's Haunted Mansion or Luigi's what was it, Polly?
Luigi's Mansion. Which was a video game where he captures
right?
ghosts. Yeah, he captures ghosts. So that was our inspiration from his job. But in the sequel, he would actually be a ghost.
Nice.
But anyways, that's our story. I think we should just call it Bros or something like that, where it's like very simplified version of Mario Bros. But before we ask our questions, do you have any comments or questions about the movie?
Who do you have in mind for? Because one of my favorite things to do is fan casting.
Oh yeah.
So did you have any actors in mind?
It's funny, we didn't really toss any other than me jokingly saying Robert Pattinson based on the meme of him and his lighthouse outfit that looks like Mario. But yeah, we haven't really tossed around any fan casting.
I like Robert Pattinson.
I don't know who Italian American actors they're not allowed to come to mind immediately.
Yeah, you would.
Milo Ventimiglia is the only one I could think
Chris
of.
Pratt.
Is Milo Ventimiglia? He's Italian, right?
I think so. Jared Leto, House of Gucci.
Yes, I mean he's basically playing the cliche Mario in that movie, right?
Exactly. Oh man.
Yeah, no, this would be really fun to fan cast. Definitely, I like just Furiosa. Imperator Furiosa literally is Princess Peach. The character is cast as Princess Peach. Okay, well, our questions for you today. First, I would like you to rate this 1 to 10 10.
Okay.
How likely are you to see this movie?
I probably the video game aspect is a little concerning considering the track record of video game
the legacy
adaptation.
of video game movies.
Yeah, but that's the hand you were dealt.
Also, keep in mind, literally in our mind, A24 logo is at the front. So like keep that in mind as well.
And that does make a big difference. So I would say an 8 probably to see it. I don't know how high my expectations would be, but I would say as far as like just based on what you said and seeing the A24 logo, I would definitely go see it in theaters.
Love it.
And I'd be very, very curious to see how it would turn out.
How likely are you to recommend this movie to a friend?
Probably like before having seen it, just hearing the concept, like a 7, just to an average movie, or maybe a 6, depending on, since if it's just like a casual moviegoer, someone that's not, in the industry, or that doesn't have a personal connection to the Mario Brothers, or isn't super familiar with like A24, they're more about like the big studio stuff. That's all they see. Maybe like a 6, but if it's someone that I think would appreciate it, which I guess is most of my circle, it's mostly people within the industry in some capacity. So I'd say, depending on who I'm talking to, between 6 and 8.
Okay, I think that's a 7 then.
That sounds like a 7. That falls right between 6 and 8.
Yeah,
I had to do the math. And then let me. So our next question was, how well did we adhere to our assignment? Our assignment was a bromance movie that was thrilling as hell for fans of character-driven sci-fi, video game adaptation that sets up a cinematic universe.
I'd say a 9. The one thing that's tricky is like the sci-fi element, because it almost feels more fantasy or horror even. But the sci-fi element, a lot of it could be like in the execution. There could just be, the portals could be something that is some sort of like technology, or it could be some other like alternate dimension, and you could add that in there like once you really start.
Yeah, we chatted about that, just because it's hard sometimes do we just need to explain away some technology that is being used within the world, or like what makes it sci-fi?
I think
even
really
like something like Dune.
If the characters are able to theorize about whether it's an alternate universe or whether it's something, I think if characters are able to theorize and connect it to reality, then I think possibly then it gets allowed to be sci-fi.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
If it's like even something like Dune that feels very fantasy, a lot of people still consider that sci-fi because of it. It's like, this is what technology looks like 10,000 years into the future, and like the world traveling from planet to planet. It's like, okay, you get away with sci-fi. So yeah, maybe this would be more sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah, so I'd say like a solid 9.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then lastly, rate our overall idea in your own.
I would say a 9 for that as well, because a lot of the aspects of it are things that I really enjoy in movies. I watch a lot of movies from an actor's perspective, where I'm like, would I want to do something like this? Would I want to act in a movie like this? And I love movies where it's two characters that are going through these challenges together, and you get so much, like, as an actor, to get to play off of another person for an entire movie and watch that relationship unfold and all the ups and downs. Like, I think that would be so much fun. So that's something that I would be drawn to. The sci-fi fantasy element I love. I also love horror, and there's a lot of potential for really creepy imagery and some really like disturbing stuff going on. And I think, and then A24. So I'd say like a solid 9.
Wonderful. So in addition to this, sorry, Polly and I are trading notes here back and forth. If you're familiar with this season of the show, we also, Polly and I, come to the table with pre-existing ideas that we want to try and integrate into the story where we can. Those 5 ideas were a cult, a character who dies again, a terminal diagnosis,
again.
A terminal diagnosis, an emergency birth in a public place, and a lawn gnome come to life. I think that we successfully integrated the 3 of them. If we'd worked hard, we could have worked that lawn gnome in, but...
I bet we could have worked it in. So the emergency birth would have been a tough one, I think.
But I think, would you agree we got a cult, a character who dies again, and a terminal diagnosis worked into?
100%, yeah.
So those are each worth 2 points on top of your score. You gave the film 33. 6 on top of that equals 39, I believe. Which means...
I'm actually getting a call right now. I'll put it on speakerphone just so you guys can hear.
Okay, great.
Do you like apples?
Yes.
I said, do you like apples?
Yes.
Me too. Also,
Okay.
we're buying your movie.
Hey,
studio bought our movie.
You are now allowed to be happy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you
Studio.
so much.
That was really nice of Studio.
Really was.
We're so excited to hear what you come up with. Talk soon. Hugs and kisses.
Oh, we love you, pal.
Oh, yeah, thanks, studio. The Writers Room Game Show with me, Ryan Polly, and Seth Worley. Executive produced by Grant Wakefield at Weekend Video and Ann Fogerty at Plot Devices. Edited to perfection by Rene Gomez. Our art is by your buddy, Meg Lewis, and our face-melting music is by Ben Worley. The Writers Room Game Show is a Weekend Video production in association with Plot Devices. Learn more about Weekend Video at weekend.video and check out writersroomgame.show to listen to all of our episodes and suggest your own prompts for future shows. And don't forget to rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts. It really helps our show out a lot. See you in the next one.